Hey guys, it's Zach again, messing around with my pedal board. As I was prepping for the Easter service this week, I stumbled upon some kind of cool sounds. I just thought I would take a minute to walk you through how I got them and let you hear them for yourself. Again, not really traditional bass stuff, more ambient kind of textural kind of things. Using the multi-wave bass distortion, my source audio pedal, which I've already done a demo on with the hot hand, and then of course my favorite reverb pedal, the Dimension Reverb Sound Blocks 2, again another source audio pedal. One thing you need to know about the multi-wave bass distortion is that it really isn't your standard distortion pedal. You can see up here I have a standard distortion pedal, that's my Fuzzrocious Rat Tail. It's a significant improvement over the old Proco Rat. Really nasty, great, traditional bass distortion with a few other bells and whistles. But when you hear distortion, that's what you think of. You think of a Rat pedal, you think of a Vox tone bender, things like that. That is not what the multi-wave bass distortion sounds like. It's much more synthy. It has, because of the fold back waveforms that they use and the way they break up the different frequency components, it comes out sounding much more synthy is probably the best way to describe it. And that's outstanding for what I really need it for. I have my traditional distortion pedal there. This serves a very, very different purpose for me, and I'm going to show you how I use that. Another really great thing about all the source audio pedals, and you can see I have 4 of them here, every single one of them work with an expression source, whether it's the hot hand sensor, MIDI, or in this case the source audio dual expression pedal. And I'm going to be using that expression pedal today, in particular with the multi-wave bass distortion, to try to create a sound that sounds, at least in my head, like a bow, like a violin bow being run across your strings. That's the sound that I was going for. The reason I didn't just simply use a bow is, 1, I don't have one, but 2, if I were to acquire one, because of the way the bass neck on an electric bass is shaped, you can really only reach your top string, or the lowest string, I'm sorry, highest tonally string, the G. And I need to play real bass notes, much lower notes, roots, to give it the tonal support that it needs. So I tried to find a way with my pedal board to see if I could create something close to that sound. And in doing that, I think I found something that comes close but actually goes a little bit further than I was looking for. So the sounds that I'm going to give you today are the multi-wave bass distortion, a little bit of the Pog 2, of course, bass player's best friend, and then the Dimension Reverb pedal. Anytime you're doing textures, you're doing something ambient, it's always nice to have a reverb or delay pedal, and this is something that will never leave my board. I absolutely love that reverb pedal. It has a great looper function in it too when you pair the echo mode with the expression source, so you can drone and play over like I did for the hot hand video. So here we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with one of my presets here in the multi-wave bass distortion, and I have that preset enabled with my expression pedal, and as I have the toe up on the expression pedal, you're getting only the clean sound, and as I push my pedal down, more and more of the distortion mix is included, so it's only modeling or impacting this knob. My drive stays the same, the clean mix stays the same, nothing else changes but the amount of distortion in the mix. And so again, I'm trying to start to get that kind of scratchy sound that you would get from a bow, but I want it to swell just a little bit. And so that's the sound that I've tried to give you. Let me give you a sample of that just by itself here. So this is just the pedal itself. Well, let me give you the clean sound first. Of course, that's not really clean. I've got the B7 on, but it's always on, so that's as close to clean as my sound ever gets. And here is the multi-wave bass distortion. So in toe up, you're just getting the clean, and as I come down, you get that really awesome distortion. Now, I'm not really sure if you can see the lights here, but I have setting, I believe that's setting 00 here on the center wheel. Okay. Again, not a typical sounding distortion, but when you pair that with chorus or with the envelope filter, you get really great synth sounds, much more synthy than I get out of the Rat pedal. And so they really serve two different purposes, and that's why I have two. I'm going to pair that distortion now with the Dimension Reverb set to the Enormodome setting, my personal favorite, just to give it a little bit more texture, a little bit more ambiance. Let me give you that sound here. Start wanting to sing the intro to Tom Sawyer by Rush. Try not to do that during the service tomorrow. So that's the basic sound I'm going to use. We're going to start a song tomorrow morning called Christ Has Risen by Matt Maher. So if you go up into the search block here on YouTube and you type in Christ Has Risen, Matt Maher, or Maher, however he pronounces his last name, there's an intro part that's normally covered by keys that I'm going to be filling. That allows our keys players to do, or player to do a little bit more piano stuff, something that's a little bit more fun than just sitting on a pad. And it lets me kind of goof around and have a lot of fun. So again, here is the multi-wave bass distortion expression pedal set to the distortion mix with the Enormodome setting on the Dimension Reverb, and then I'll just give you some textures. No chorus, no modulation, just straight distortion and reverb. So here we go. An F sharp and a B. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little bit of that with the Pog. Now I'm going to give you the Pog by itself here. Again, I have it set up to where I have a little bit of the 1 octave below, 1 octave above, and then 2 octaves above with a little bit of the low pass filter, and then the attack backed off so you get a little bit more of the swell going into it. So here's that sound. This will be the F sharp. Then here's the B. As you may have seen in the other hot hand video that I did, the way the multi-wave bass distortion plays with the Pog and the way the frequencies are broken up, it really does pull these different octaves apart and presents them in more of a layered fashion than you would just as a mix. And let me play that for you. So I'll kick that on in just a second. Let's go back to our standard synth. Let me back the volume off a little bit so I don't blow you guys away. Here we go. Again, I couldn't do that unless I had a distortion pedal with some sort of expression out. There are some distortion sounds in the Line 6 M5. I have that paired with a hot hand, and that hot hand is mounted to the neck of my bass. I'm not using that, again, because the distortion in this is more traditional distortion, and it doesn't play with the Pog and pull those octaves apart like I want. I don't know if the iPad, hovering over my bass amp does that sound justice, but when you have that connected to your amps and running through a PA, it's tasty and absolutely delicious, really warm, kind of non-traditional bass. And by doing this early in the song, I'm allowed to push my bass line later into the song. Most traditional worship music is pretty repetitive as chord progressions go, and so the later I can get into that, the more room I have for dynamics and really drawing distinction between different verses and different choruses and things like that. So that sound that you just heard I'll be using for the intro of the song, for the first verse of the song, and part of the first chorus of the song, and then once we go into the second verse, while all that's still ringing, I'll start into my traditional bass line. So really it's all about texture. Again, I hope you liked it. If you don't have a source audio pedal, go get one. Make sure you get an expression source with that, either the hot hand or the dual expression pedal. It's a nerd's delight. Thanks, guys.